It feels good to be back. It's nice to see that our boiler is still at maximum status, as you can see right behind me. Our biodiesel is filled to the top, and we're definitely generating faster than we are spending it. And of course, now we know that we've actually decorated this place a little bit, and it looks a little bit prettier. Of course, it's still a big work in progress. You can see most of this space is still looking a little bare bones, but at least this area in particular looks good. But let me show you something that looks even better, and that is how many sandwiches we have in here. We have 18.9 thousand cheese sandwiches just sitting in here. And I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, technically I am still working through these previous sandwiches that we were eating up, but this cow is doing a lot of hard work. Thank you very much, cow. And of course, all of our wheat has officially been processed, so you can actually see, oh, we just had one go by, but aside from that, it is just literally being made as it comes in. So you can see we've got some dough in here. Hopefully some bread will be served, and yeah, it's looking pretty good. But what is the point of having all this food if I have to, spend time to eat it and, hold it and gather it and all of that? Today's episode is about making my life a little bit easier, even though today, in this particular episode, it's going to be a little bit harder, but I'm future-proofing myself. I'm making my life easier in the future, but not right now. So with that being said, I actually have a clipboard of things that we are going to be working on in today's episode. And of course, if you have read the title and looked at the thumbnail, you already know what our ultimate goal is. But our very first goal is for me to auto-feed myself. Don't mind all the blurry stuff down here. So in order to auto-feed myself, it's actually quite simple. I actually have a backpack with a feeding upgrade. It's really that simple. All I need to do is add food into this backpack, and honestly, we still have a lot of previous food from, the previous farm and all of that jazz. But all we really need to do is add it into this filter, hold some food in our inventory, and we never ever have to have food in our hotbar ever again, because our backpack will do it for us. So I'm gonna grab a few stacks of sandwiches here, just like this, and then of course, hopefully it stacks up. Oh, this is the wrong kind. I was wondering why it wasn't stacking up. There we go. And then we just put this in here. And now officially, I never need to hold food in here as long as there is food in my backpack. So that is freaking fantastic. That's a pretty easy, first check to tick off here. But this is what's going to lead us to the bigger and greater goal of today's episode. Because as I mentioned, it is effort to actually come all the way down here and gather all of this bread. Of course, there's 18.3 thousand in here. It is generating faster than I can even count. And I swear I know how to count, so that's not the problem. The problem is that coming down here and making sure that we refill our backpack to have, how much ever it is that we want in here, it's gonna be a little bit annoying. So I decided that for today's episode, we are going to make an armory. And the reason it's called an armory, by the way, because obviously this is a backpack, not really an armor, but, whatever. The reason it's called the armory is because we also have a jetpack. And the jetpack, as you can see, is going to run out of fuel and it's going to run out of water at some point. Now, there are these filling tanks and fueling tanks that I can hold in my inventory that will automatically refill this. But of course, once these tanks go empty, then we once again need to refill it. So the point of the armory is I basically get to walk into this room, I press a button, and basically it refills both of my tanks. It will then refill my backpack with more food. And then last but not least, I also want to press a button where XP just gets plopped down on me and it heals all of my armor and tools. Of course, right now, what we would need to do is we need to come over here and oh my gosh, this has been full here. Uh-oh, we probably wasted a lot of resources. We probably had a lot of things that just burned. But anyway, we are generating a lot of experience. So I literally just want to be able to press a button and it would be the equivalent of this basically popping right on top of me. So that is the purpose of what the armory is going to be. Of course, we can always add more purposes to it. It's really not going to be that difficult, but of course it is going to have to be nearby our factory here, because at the end of the day, we need to get all of those sandwiches to be nearby, and we are going to need power from our infinite power boiler. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We have some housekeeping to do first. First of all, and as I've mentioned many times, I do read all of the comments, and in fact, I respond to a lot of the comments. And one of the comments actually mentioned that I don't need all these torches down because we have a mega torch, and we don't really need all of this light. And honestly, I think I just got used to it. I completely forgot that these torches were even down, and now that I have read the comment, I'm realizing how ugly it makes this place look. So yeah, you are absolutely right. We definitely do need to get rid of these torches. But okay, alright, cool. That's out of the way. We got the torches gone. Now let's get to step number 2, mulch for faster crop growth. You might be asking yourself, what the freak is that? So myself and a few other people on the server have actually learned that this mulch, you can actually plant your seeds on that mulch, and you don't require water nearby, first of all. And second of all, crops grow a little bit faster, I think. I mean, that could be completely incorrect. But regardless, that is going to help us quite a bit, because in every single one of our layers here, we evidently have 4 blocks missing for potential growth of seeds, because of course there is water there, and not to mention we might be able to grow it a little bit faster with the mulch. But I also don't want this mulch portion of the episode to take that much of our time, because honestly the most fun and important part is the armory. So I just wanted to introduce you guys to it, to show you what it is that I am going to do. But I'm basically just going to blink and it will be done. Just like that, the mulch has been placed down. Check it out. I mean, it honestly doesn't look that much different. As you can tell, it's just kind of exactly like the rest. But the most important part is that things are growing a lot faster. Like it is incredibly crazy how fast things grow on this mulch. And I thought about replacing these water bits, but then that meant I would have to add more of the plows, or whatever this is called. I already forgot. Or like the harvester, I think is what it's called. And I really didn't feel like doing that. It sounded like it was a lot of work, which I know it's kind of a little excuse, but the fact that we are generating more a lot quicker, I think, is going to make up for not adding in those additional 4 on each level, of course. And I'm going to be honest, I've sat around for a little bit, and this is ridiculously fast. This is going up, like, literally, I think earlier, before I set up the mulch, I was at around 1,200 potatoes, and now we've gone 6,000 up. The same thing is with the seeds. I think we were at like 4,000, and now we're at 10.6K. So that's awesome. Now the only thing I need to figure out is how to make this bone farm a little bit more efficient, because if I'm not literally AFKing right here, I basically don't generate any bones, because if I'm standing here, as you can see, the spawner is not working. I actually need to stay within a range for it to start working. But anyway, that is a problem for future me. Of course, now we have to work on the most important part of this entire episode, which is, of course, the armory. And I'm sure you probably noticed all the items in my inventory, because we are going to be building, and so these are going to be all of the required things. Hopefully, if I need more things, that's going to be really annoying, but you know, it'll be fine. But anyway, I think I'm just going to get started on building here, because we got to get to the juicy stuff, and the juicy stuff is what's on the inside. That's really what's going to be the hard part. So let's start building our armory. That's going to go right here on the side of our factory. right? Moment of truth. There she is. Honestly, right now, it really doesn't look like it fits that well. I still have some chimneys to add, and I think that'll sort of give it a little bit more justice to actually fit in with the rest of this. But of course, this is a really large entrance for kind of a place where I don't want people to enter. Now, the reason I don't want people to enter a building such as my armory is because, of course, we are going to be having access to a lot of basically great resources that I don't want to hand out for free for anyone who visits my home. So before we actually build the inside of the armory, that's actually going to be doing a lot of work for us, I'm going to build the outside of it first, or I guess rather the entrance for it, which is going to be special. Now you may have noticed I have left a little bit of space here, and I actually do still need to dig it out a little bit more. But basically we're going to be making a moving door that works right here. However, we are going to make it so that it only works when a key is used. So the very first thing I want to do is I actually do want to build most of the front door. Now, I'm going to admit that the front door isn't going to entirely move. It's only going to be this 3 by, I think, 7 area is what's going to be moving. The rest of it is going to stand still. And of course, I have a little bit of a design that I want to do here. I actually made this in a single player world, and I thought it looked really cool because, of course, implementing a little bit of copper, especially in steampunk type builds, is always going to make it look a little bit better. And there we go. Those are the final blocks, and I've officially locked myself out, so we're gonna have to dig through. We are only going to make these blocks here move, and I guess actually technically we do need to finish this off, so I guess I'll just place those blocks for now. And of course in my backpack I have gathered a lot of materials for all of our future stuff, but for this primary thing that we are working on, I am going to be grabbing these piston extension poles and a sticky mechanical piston. And then of course we are going to require some of these redstone links. So we are only going to make this 3 by 7 area, I believe this is, actually move. So we need to make basically a 7 deep hole over here so that it can actually go all the way down where it needs to. So I think it's here. I'm actually not sure. And then, of course, the extension pole needs to go another 7 down. So let's just dig this down. There we go. That should work. Now, let's place this here and extend it all the way up, just like this. Let's see once it stops. There we go. And then if I pull this down, you can see it's bringing down the door as well. So let's make sure that we measured this correctly, and yep, perfect. So it'll go down to this exact position here, and then after a period of time, it will go back up. There is one thing I forgot to make, so I'm gonna go make that real quick because that is what's going to make our life a million times better. Okay, I think I should have actually gotten everything now, so that's good. Awesome. Let's go ahead and remove this hand crank. And oops, I did not mean to make that work. Let's remove this. And let me explain to you how this is going to work. Basically, when this is at the very top, and yes, I know I placed down the same hand crank that I literally just broke, but that's okay because my brain is everywhere. Okay, so we're always going to have power going into this, so we need a gear shift to basically decide whether this is going to be going up or down. And then, of course, we are going to use a pulse extender, and we're going to do about like 6-7 seconds. And what's going to happen is we are going to send it a wireless redstone signal so that when this gets triggered for 7 seconds, it'll switch to this state, which means it'll be going to retract. And then after the 7 seconds, it'll go back into this state, which means it'll push once again. So basically, I press a button, this opens, I can walk in, and then after a few seconds, it'll close by itself, which for security purposes, that is amazing. But now let's talk about how this security system is going to work. And of course, I am making it work with a placard. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that word right, but it is what it is. Basically, I can place this down literally anywhere, and I'm going to place it here, for example, and here's something that's really, really cool about these little placards. If you place a cogwheel in here, for example, and you're clicking on it, this is me right clicking it, nothing happens. But if I right click it with a cogwheel, it makes a little noise, and you saw a little bit of a redstone signal. That means that it basically, for that little instant, just then, it sends out a redstone signal. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these keys from supplementaries, and we're going to name these a very unique code. It's going to be a combination of just a bunch of numbers and letters. And for the purposes of explaining it to you guys, I'm only going to rename 3 of them, and 1 of them I will not rename. So for example, let's call it jojosolos card only, exclamation point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. So there we go. We have this crazy, key that's set up here. And then if we place one in here, you can see it does the little ding. But if I click it with a regular key that doesn't have this ding, you can see nothing is happening. That basically means we have a password on our key, which is fantastic stuff. And then, of course, if we click it, it works, and then it'll be able to open all of this for us. So that's fantastic. And actually, I am going to move this over because I think we are going to be getting power from the other side of here, because I'm not sure if you guys remember, but our skeleton farm should be somewhere around here. That's coal. We should be running into it soon, no? Oh, here we go. Block of flint. All right, let's dig through this. And, oh, this is actually perfect, I think. We should be able to pretty easily transfer the power over here. I'm just giving myself a little bit more space so that I can actually walk through here without getting stuck. So let's just connect this over here. And there we go. We've got power. I lied. I'm bringing this down 1. I actually think it'll make our lives a little bit easier because we won't have to use as many gearboxes. But then after this, we should be all set. So if we just do this, okay, so right now it's set the opposite way, which is totally okay. We can totally configure this however we want. That is the beauty of what we're working on here. So we can still do exactly the way we had it set up before, which is have this pulse extender at a few seconds here, and then connect a redstone link like this. But now we just click it so that it's always in the on position until redstone comes in. It'll turn off for 7 seconds, and then it'll turn back on. So here's the thing. Our placard is here, which means we need to put a redstone link on the other side of it, just like this. We are going to do frequencies just like this so that it knows to connect to this redstone link. Otherwise, it could connect to literally any redstone link in the world, and that would be a problem because I'm sure other players in the SMP are actually using redstone links. And then we select this one in specific to be a receiver. That's why I clicked it with this. You can see it makes it into a receiver. And now I think that's everything I needed for this to work. If I just click that, it opens up and wait, why did it? Oh, I set it to 7 ticks. Oops. Okay. 7 seconds. There we go. Okay. Now if we click this, it opens. We're good for 7 seconds. And then after the 7 seconds have passed by, bam, it closes. Oh my goodness. That is some fantastic. No freaking way. I leave the door open for half a second and the freaking flies are getting in here. Now, I guess the other concern would be is what do we do about actually exiting? And I thought about placing another placard and just having that work. But I do wonder if I could just place a button. Yeah, we could just have a button. We don't need to use a key to get out of here. We're totally fine. And then that closes after a few seconds. We walk around, look back, and boom, it's closed. And then, of course, if we click this with literally anything and everything, it doesn't work unless we click it with this key that matches perfectly. Oh my goodness, this is really starting to come together.
But now that we have security in place, we need to actually make this place functional, because otherwise there is no reason for us to really be going all out on this security stuff if ultimately it's not going to do anything for us. So I'm going to take you guys into a creative world where I have been sketching all of this out, because I need you guys to see what it is that I will be working on now. Oh, all right. Welcome to my jumble of a mess that I have going on over here. This is basically going to be the beefiest part, because it actually requires a lot of redstone signals. As you can see, we have several layers of it. And don't mind this belt going on here. That's for future reference. Basically, I'm going to show you guys literally everything that I'm doing here. Basically, in order to fuel up our jetpack, we are going to need two things. We are going to need a fueling tank, and we're going to need a filling tank. Of course, the filling tank has water and the fueling tank has fuel, lava being one of the fuels that we can use, of course. As you can see, we have it here. And what I'm going to have is I'm going to have a water generator, which is very easy because we can just make an infinite source and it'll put it into this tank. And then we can have another lava generator, which we already had in the past, but we're basically going to remake it so that it starts fueling up this tank. If we place a mechanical pump with nothing at the end of it, it just places the lava. In fact, let me show you guys right now. If I do this here, and then let's actually flip this so I can prove this to you guys. You can see it just spits out lava, and then it'll just keep doing it over and over and over again. So that's what's basically happening right there. Now, this entire process works by us having 2 of the fueling tanks and 2 of the filling tanks. Basically, what is going to happen is we are going to walk up over here, and let's just place these so that we can actually stand up in front of this. And let's say we just got into the armory and we have these completely empty. Of course, as you can see, they are not empty, and there's actually still a lot of fuel in there, but let's pretend that it's completely empty. We walk up to our depot and we place our fueling tank, and you can see it now spits out this one that is fully full, and then it places this one into a deployer that is basically charging back itself with all of the lava. And you can see the lava hasn't been consumed, which means that fueling tank is full. So let's say this one is empty now. I place it here, and just like that, we got ourselves our large fueling tank completely full. The same idea would go with this filling tank, and of course it's not that full because I ran out of water in this tank, and I know that we could pump it just straight from a water source, but for the sake of making it look equivalent, I felt like I had to make both of them have tanks. I just wanted to say that because I don't want you guys to think that I'm a silly goofy goober, but basically that's how it works. If we have 2 of these, then one of them can always be getting refilled and the other one can be in my inventory fueling my jetpack. This here is definitely the hardest part of the entire armory because it does require a lot of logic, but there are going to be other things. For example, this part, which is going to basically drop XP on us every time we press the button. And of course, I obviously don't have it set up to anything, but I would just have it so that it brings the nuggets of experience into here and then it just plops it on us. In fact, just to show you guys how it works is it literally just spits it out like that. So it's pretty easy. Of course, ideally, we press the button and then we're holding whatever tools we need fixed with mending. So hopefully that would completely help fix our tools. That was a lot to explain, and I'm really sorry if that was extremely confusing. Honestly, I don't blame you if it was a little too much to understand. Hopefully it'll make more sense once we actually have it implemented, and of course the goal is to have it implemented on this back wall. But honestly, since I've already explained it to you guys, I'm not going to put you through the pain of me actually trying to figure out how to build it. Hopefully it's going to be a little bit of an easy experience, but if it's not, I'll save you guys the headache. I'm going to get to working on that, and I guess if I come across any sort of issues, I guess I'll bring it up to you guys. Maybe I'll keep it to myself and silently fix it. Okay, I think I have the bare bones of it. I don't know if it's actually gonna work or not, but you know, it all comes down to me connecting this all the way over here, and now all the power should allegedly be connected. Oh, I guess the one thing I didn't connect is... Wait, what did I just pick up? Okay, I don't know what I just picked up, but I guess the only thing I haven't connected is the... Oh, it was the big cog. Okay, it doesn't like that being connected there. Now the question is... why? You know, I'm not sure, but I'm just gonna connect these like so, and it should be fine now. The water is obviously filled up because water is basically infinite. And the lava is very slowly but surely generating. So I do have 4 cauldrons down here just kind of doing some work. Which I'm glad that we are finally doing this because, yeah, I'm down to 1 fuel and my water is almost out on this jetpack. But there is one ginormous issue that I completely forgot to talk about and work on earlier, which is actually crafting these tanks. Now, the filling tank is relatively easy. We just need copper and a fluid tank. That's gonna take just about 0 effort. However, the large fueling tank requires this sturdy sheet, and basically like 12 of it. And in order to make sturdy sheet, you can see it's a little bit of an annoying process. We need to have powdered obsidian, which of course we get from crushing obsidian, and then infuse it with some lava, press it down, and then press it down again. So we need to do this a few times. It's gonna be kind of annoying, but I do think Henry has actually set up a process for this. Now, I do have some obsidian on me, so let's go check in on Henry's base. All right, my jetpack has officially run out of fuel, so I need to be very careful with how I'm jumping around these areas. Thankfully, Henry is not online right now, which means I don't have to be concerned about him pushing me into his freaking void hole or anything like that. Okay, perfect, except... Did he get rid of the spout? Oh, shoot. Okay, that's annoying, but that's okay. We could probably make it work. Let's go ahead and grind up our obsidian there just because we're already here. Jeez, this is painfully slow. I very well could have just gone home and used my own crushing wheels and it would have been fine. There we go. And now we just need to head back home so that we can start getting some of these made into sturdy sheets. That looks crazy, by the way. I might have to change how this looks. Maybe the copper door is a little too bright. I don't know. That's my first time seeing it like that. Okay, so we need a spout, and I think, yep, here we go. We have one in here. So let me craft up a few things. This should be pretty easy to do. Okay, perfect. That actually finished up all of it, which means I think we have all of the sturdy sheets we needed now. That means we can actually take down literally all of this because I don't think I'll be using any of that again. And now all I need to do is make 2 tanks like this. Oh, I already had one. I didn't even realize that. And okay, sure. We'll make our small filling tank now. And then we'll make a small fueling tank, and then we can just go ahead and upgrade this one all the way to the large fueling tank, just like so. And if we grab some copper here and then start crafting it up, we've got medium and then large. Perfect. Oh no, I've just had the really annoying realization that I need to do all of this all over again because I forgot that I needed 2 of these. Oh my god. Oh, rookie mistake. Rookie mistake. Remember when I took all of this down and I said, wow, I'm never going to need that again? Yeah, I'm not feeling too good about that anymore. Now I'm feeling like a fool, I tell ya. Regardless, we have these for now. So what matters most is that we test to make sure that all of this works. So of course, we'll place our very first one in here, and you can see it's refilling the water over and over and over again. And actually, I do need to use this filling tank, and oh, you can see the water is going down because it's refilling my jetpack right now. But I do need to use these tanks to actually add it into the filter for these, because otherwise my mechanical arm will have no idea where to place the correct items. And then of course we need to do the same thing with the observers by putting the correct filter on the observers. And now if I place this here, you can see it gives it to the little arm and it starts refilling it. Perfect. Of course, the same thing should happen if I place this one, and it'll put it on the left arm. And of course, we are not generating lava fast enough for that to actually be doing anything. But assuming we had lava, we would totally have it be full already. At least now I know that I need more lava to be generating, because I thought that this would be enough. But just real quick, I'm gonna steal this so that it refills my fuel onto my jetpack. And there we go. Now I'll place it back, and it'll just place it in there. And hopefully we'll have some lava generating at some point. But we've got a little bit of fuel to work off of here, so I can actually just start jumping around. La 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 la. Okay, maybe I shouldn't jump around. That already used one of my fuel. Okay, I'm going to work on obviously making a second pair of these things real quick, and maybe sprucing some things up. And then I will get back to you guys when I am ready to move forward on to the next step. And speaking of which, that reminded me that I have forgotten to update my clipboard. So we do actually need to check mark mulch for faster crop growth. And now we see make an armory for refilling. That's what we are working on now. So let's finish this.
So I've done a little bit of digging, and I've set up a conveyor belt so that we can actually gather all of the resources that we will need to transport all the way over here, which is basically going to be the food and the XP. But I don't know if you guys have noticed, there's a lot of players online right now. That's because we're about to go fight the Ender Dragon. So we're going to go do that, but you guys are going to get to see that only in the next episode, because I have some planning to do that will tie in to a little bit of what happens then. So for this episode, I will be back from there. I won't spoil anything, don't worry. And then we're going to finish working on this, and we're going to be super duper OP. And just to celebrate that we are going to be fighting the Ender Dragon, I am going to be using our brand new mechanism here and actually get a full fueling tank here. And you can see it's refilling everything. And the same thing with a water one. And now you know, it is actually refilling the other one super easily, just like that, which is fantastic stuff. But all right, I'll be back.
All right, I can explain it all. Well, I'm not going to spoil anything about the end fight because that's for the next episode, but just don't mind all the XP that I have, and don't mind that I completely changed the door in the background, because I just didn't really like how the copper looked. I felt like it looked too bright in comparison to everything. It just really didn't match that well. But I think now with the spruce, I think it looks a lot better. I think it actually matches the vibes a little bit more. And if I ever decide that it doesn't actually match the vibes, we can figure something else out. But it is indeed important that we actually come over here and start finishing this entire process. Of course, we are going to have one part here for XP and one part here for food. And I have already made this conveyor belt here that goes all the way from over here. And you can see it is a little bit darker. And by the way, I did want to mention, I made this feral flare lantern, and it was a little bit of a problem because I did place it down so that we could have, you know, basically it places invisible lights all around. So it could place lights here and it wouldn't look so dark. However, it did actually go into our farm in here, which means our farm stopped working. And of course, that is a problem. So I'm going to figure out something else so that it doesn't look as dark. I could turn up my brightness, but sometimes I like when it looks a little bit more vanilla-esque. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. I got very sidetracked just now. We need to actually connect everything now. And it's not going to be too difficult to connect something like our sandwiches because it's going to be very, very simple and similar stuff to what we've already done for this machinery. The part that's going to be harder is for the nuggets of experience because, of course, we don't really have the nuggets of experience stored anywhere. So that's something we need to build in, which is basically a vault of sorts. And I do have item vault blocks here, and basically request the experience whenever we click the button, of course. So if I place this, everything's coming out. No, 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 no. We don't want all of that falling out. I mean, that refills my backpack, so I'm okay with it, but that's not what I'm trying to do. I think we placed it. Nope, it's still not doing it. It's still not doing it the way I want it to. Oh my goodness. I guess we need to have a temporary redstone torch down so that it doesn't trigger, maybe? So if I do that, there we go. Okay, so now it's officially turned off because we placed the redstone signal on it. So that's what we're going to have to do with a redstone link over here. And then, of course, to match it up, we are going to have a chute. And I guess we want it... I mean, do we want it here or do we want it one forward? I feel like one forward might be better. So I dug this out in the wrong direction and this goes out into the world. That's not cool. That is a concern. Let's just cover that up and no one will ever know. So it's pretty simple stuff to things that we have already done in other parts of all the other builds that we've done, actually. Like, for example, our shop. But basically, we are going to have an encased fan blowing air upwards on this chute so that all of the items go upwards, of course. And then in here, we are going to have this funnel. And of course, we are going to go ahead and give it the filter there so that it only picks up the cheese sandwiches. Not that it matters because it really shouldn't be picking up anything else. But, you know, just in case things go through, I guess. And I do actually have an encased fan here. So there we go. We have it placed down. We just need to actually power it, which shouldn't be too difficult. We just need to connect from here to there, which I can do that in just a moment. And of course, this needs to be flipped inward, so it actually goes into it, of course. Okay, and then I think we just place that, oops, not like this. We place it facing up, and now this is pushing upwards. Perfect. So just to test it, let's do something. Hold on. Okay, we're kind of stuck right now. Hold on, we got to find a way out of here. I guess we don't need to find a way out. We can just use some of the sandwiches we already have. Let's just plop it there. It goes in, and it gets shot upwards. Perfect. That works perfectly. Of course, the only thing that matters now is actually linking it up to some redstone so that the funnel properly shoots it towards us when we so require. But that can be done in just a moment. Of course, the same exact thing is going to be happening over here, wherever my exit is. I think is it here? Yep, here it is. For experience. But we are actually going to want to transfer it up on the back side of this because instead of just bringing it up with a chute, we are going to have a deployer. There we go. I know I have a deployer somewhere. Oh, I have 5 of them. I just didn't notice it. We're going to use a deployer that's going to be poking down on us, simply just like this, actually. And it's going to plonk down some experience on us. So it should be just like that. And, oops, I didn't mean to rotate it like that. Maybe we rotate it like this and just pass power from here. Because I don't know any other way that we can make it look pretty to pass the power. But what does matter is that we put a chute here. So, of course, this lava doesn't start blending into the freaking world. We are building out of wood, so that's kind of a problem. But we should be able to just bring it up like this. And how else do I want to bring this up, actually? I am actually trying to think so hard of what to do here. I don't know if this is going to work, but I am going to try something. Okay, so I have added a fan that moves this chute upwards. So now I'm going to see if this actually works. I'm just going to drop a stack of this here And let's see what happens. Hold on, I'm going up the wrong way. And okay, perfect. It does actually place it into this belt. So now we just need to connect all of this together so that it actually works together. And then we would literally just... Oh, I mean, I hope this spins in the correct direction for this. And yes, it does. Oh, that just works perfectly, doesn't it? Okay, now I'm gonna try to link all of this up with some redstone, and let's see what happens. Whew, okay, I think I have done majority of the work. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, we don't really have a way to gather our nuggets of experience just yet, but we will. I mean, look at this. We have been generating so much just in the past, while that I've been working on all of this. All of this will be getting stored, and we'll be able to request it. But the only thing that we can currently test is this, to see if we get sandwiches. So I'm gonna do my little key combination here, and let's see. There we go. There we go. It should have, yeah, okay, so it only does a few stacks. I actually don't know how many stacks it just did, but usually we're only coming here to do like a full refill, We're not here for like 1 or 2 sandwiches. We're here to fully restock. So I think that's completely fine with how much we just got. Honestly, I am quite content with how much we have accomplished here today. I mean, the armory is fully functional aside from the XP, but that's just going to require some housekeeping things to do underground, which I can easily do, off camera when I just don't want to bore you guys with all of that. There is also some decorating that I want to do. I feel like this place would look a whole lot better if it just was a little bit more decorated. And of course, I still got to fully change out the floor, and we have to add this wall, by the way, because I don't know if I've mentioned it, but this is 3 blocks on this side and it's 4 on this side, and it's been driving me crazy. So we got to make sure we close off that wall there. But overall, I am very, very content with what we have accomplished here. I mean, this has pretty much fully automated everything for us in regards to making sure that our jetpack is fully fueled, that we're never hungry, and if we ever need to mending any of our tools, we can just simply press a button. Of course, it's not working yet. I know it's not working yet, but it'll work soon. By the time you see the next episode, it'll be working, I swear. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching today's episode. I appreciate you guys. Consider dropping a like if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you all in the next episode when my friends and I we're all in the end, destroying the Ender Dragon and doing some crazy stuff out there.